Hey, Sean Chandler here. I'm joined by my friend Zach. He is in town for South by Southwest, and he had a story I just wanted to share about kind of his journey in being a movie reviewer and the opportunity that it's provided. I thought it would be useful for all of you wonderful people to hear. So, who are you and where can we find you on the internet?
Well, I'm Zach Pope, out from Arizona. My YouTube channel is Zach Pope Reviews. And I also do reviews for Sandwich John Films, which is a website that gives out advanced movie screenings. So, you know, I started my YouTube channel back, like, right as I graduated high school. So that was, like, May 2015. I'd always wanted to do, like, reviewing. Like, I loved YouTube. I loved, like, listening to Chris Stuckman and Jeremy Johnson. I wanted to do my own. So I got a laptop, and I made the worst videos in the whole wide world. No editing, just would film it, throw it up, don't even care. Then I look back at those, I'm like, what was I doing? So I did those for like a couple months just for fun. And then I was like, you know what? I'm not getting traction. That was because I just did not try at all. Like I was just throwing it up there, just seeing what would stick. Nothing would stick because I wasn't trying. So I stopped for a while. And then I would actually start doing like long like Facebook posts about like films I had seen. And a bunch of people were like, why don't you do your videos anymore? So I was like, oh, maybe I'll look into it. So then I actually started looking into it more, and I think the one that I came back and did was Central Intelligence. I don't know why Central Intelligence. I didn't really care for the film, but it was like I was
That's bored. Like for me, it was Ghostbusters, and for everyone else, it was like this hot button. Like for me, it was like, that's just totally mediocre. Yeah. And so for me, it's just this random movie. And so when people trash the movie, like, that movie changed my life because I started my channel because of it. Anyway, sorry, what about you?
No,
it's totally random.
Crazy. Yeah, it just slowly started random. So I just started doing like, I would go once a week to a movie and just review it. And then eventually it just kind of built. And really the one thing I learned was actually replying back to comments, because I was not replying back to any comments. I actually went back and looked at old videos and like looked at comments that people were leaving. You left one I never even replied back to.
How dare you?
Yeah, so it was like you were one, Ryan O'Toole was one.
Ryan O'Toole was the person that, like, he commented on mine. I was like, that's a good idea. I should do that. So that's why I started doing that, because he commented on mine.
And that's what made me and then I was like, oh, all these people were talking. I'm like, maybe I should comment back to people, because I was always like, I remember I did a Ghostbusters review, and I got like 20 dislikes right away, and because I liked it, I thought it was good. It wasn't horrible, but a bunch of comments, kill yourself. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm not gonna reply back to these. So you know, like, and
you seem to be a hate magnet
sometimes, especially when I have controversial thoughts. I just started doing that, and I was dating a girl at the time for a long time who, like, she was actually kind of the reason she pushed me. She was like, you should go back to reviewing movies. So, like, she pushed me, like, you need to do this. Yeah. Like, you would be really good at talking about movies, because that was, like, the one connection we always had, was talking about movies. So, and then, like, with the Facebook posts and everything. So she kind of pushed me back into it, which I just kept making reviews. And then she actually, she made me email outlets in Arizona, because she was like, because I would go and wait in these lines, like, for public passes, and the press
That's
section,
still a lot of what I have to do, is I have to, like, people like, how do you get into these? Well, sometimes I'm on the press list. A lot of the times I'm waiting for 3 hours.
And that's how it was. I think the first actual press list I got into was The Accountant, and that was just because I just asked. And that was it. And then after that, I didn't hear back from them, because I wasn't part of a website or anything. But before that, it was like I would wait in line for 4 or 5 hours. Yeah. Like, I think the first one I actually waited for was Baby Driver. I waited like 6 hours for that film. And I don't know why I waited.
I think you're way more committed. I have 3 hours is, I think, my max.
No, I only did it because I'm like, okay, I have the day off. Edgar Wright. It's going to be a huge film. Funny thing was, not only 12 people showed up at that screening. How on earth that happens, I have no idea. So me and my friend waited all day, and we were like, this is a waste of time. But we got in, so we got to see Baby Driver like 4 or 5 months
That's ago. Like Ant-Man and the Wasp. I showed up way early. It's a Marvel. This thing's going to be packed. I showed up to it. The theater's half empty.
I think the worst screening I've been to was Beauty and the Beast. I went to wait in that line, and I went 2 hours ahead. I'm like, it's not going to be that bad. It's in a really bad neighborhood, you know. Like, no. Oh, my God, it was wrapped. I was so lucky to get in that thing. I was like the last one they sent, and they're like, all right, that's it. I was like, okay, thank God I got in here. But yeah, it just started from there. And then two outlets reached back to me, and only one of them I really liked what they were offering. They were like, you don't have to change anything, just advertise the website, and yada yada yada. The other one.
And so is that like Twitter? Is that like?
It was emailing. Like I just went to a bunch of different websites. Like I would look up like Arizona film like critics or like Arizona film websites.
So it's doing research, just doing the hustle yourself, making things happen.
And networking and like just sending constant emails. And then like a couple days later, John, who runs Sandwiched on Films, he's had that website for like, I think like 8 years now. And he emailed me back. He's like, hey, I actually need a reviewer, blah, blah, blah. And they started me small. And like, I think the first press screening I went to like actually through him was Last Flag Flying, which totally underrated. If you have not seen Last Flag Flying, go watch that. That film was awesome. But yeah, so that was the first one. And they started me on smaller films, and I mean, like the website wasn't like accredited yet. Like his friends were the ones kind of doing the reviews before, and from there on, the studio reps I actually started being friends with them because there's 2 different studio outlets out in Arizona. And
so like the person running the events, you'd like start talking to them.
Yeah, and I would just start talking to them, and then I mean they would see that like, oh, he's coming to all these smaller screens. So then they threw me like bigger screenings, like Avengers or what was it, like Incredibles 2, or like the time I knew that like I was like, okay, now I'm actually in, was Black Panther. When I got Black Panther, I was like, I got a Disney film. So that's okay, that's a pretty big film that's coming out. Because I think the other one I'd got was Justice League. I was like, I feel like everyone got like Justice League. I feel like everyone saw Justice League before me. So, but yeah, so I just like, once I made that relationship with John and like kept that relationship with him, because me and him talk like every other day, and he sends me the screenings like through emails. Do you want to go to this? Do you want to do this? Now I have like a relationship with the studio reps too, and it's fun to just talk to them because they are normal people. Like we forget that people in the industry are normal people who also like movies, and when you make that relationship with them, that kind of takes you in different elements. Because one of them actually, I told them I want to start interviewing, so they got me an interview with the director of Instant Family and Daddy's Home 1 and 2, which was Sean Anders, and such a down to earth guy. Like I was nervous.
And so this was through the
screenings and the website and everything. Yeah, like he was coming into town and he only had a couple interviewing spots, and I was like, oh, I want to see the film, and I mean, I looked at the film like, oh, this could be another Daddy's Home.
Yes.
But
that everyone really.
And I even told him that I'm like, honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of Daddy's Home, but man, you did an excellent job with this film, and a lot of that came because it was passionate, because it's based on a true story of him, but I was really like just sitting there talking to him and like seeing how passionate he was about filmmaking. What was just insane. And that's actually one of my goals for like this year, was to do more interviews, and that's what I've been trying to like network on, is to get more interviews, because I like doing reviews. Trailer reactions can be fun for the big movies.
Right.
I actually like going back and like looking at my reactions, seeing like, oh, that's how I reacted to. I squealed like a little child when Shazam jumped on the screen. But sometimes it's like I want to reach out and do more. I want to talk to directors, actors, composers, production designer. It doesn't matter. I want to get to know more about the film industry than just what I see in other interviewers. And plus, I mean, a lot of interviewers I watch kind of sometimes ask the most basic questions.
Right.
Like, come on, like, why are you asking about the smallest thing?
And the generic just feels like, what? That's you had your opportunity with them, and that's the thing you picked.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, you've probably seen tons of them where it's like, how do you do what made you get into the role of this movie? How many times have you been asked that? Like,
right.
3,000 times. You know what I mean? So they've heard that all before, and that's what having like because when I interviewed Sean Anders, it was like 3 of us sitting in a room in a round table, and we all took our chances. And like obviously in my interview I had edited it out because I didn't know if the other people wanted me to include their voices in it or not. But like just again, like I got to know that he's a big horror fan. Would have never known that watching Instant Family.
Yeah, right. That's not the thing that would immediately jump out. Like,
no.
I bet this guy loves watching serial killers kill people.
Yes, yeah. You wouldn't know that. But again, just down-to-earth guy. And I think we forget about that, like when we're watching a film, which actually, after that film, when I go and watch a movie now, even if it is horrible, I try to look for something good in it. Yeah. Because even when I started my channel, I was like, I think one of the films I saw was The Perfect Guy, which I don't know if you've seen this film. It has Michael Ealy, and he's like a stalker to this girl. Hated the film. I don't even think I gave it one compliment. But looking back, I'm like, I mean, the actors were good in it, you know. And I think I look at that now when I'm reviewing films, that most films, no one sets out for crap. Especially, I mean, there are some studio pushed out films that like, this is dog crap. Like, this is, you push this out to make money, and it was obviously not. But I mean, even when I saw a film last year called Assassination Nation, I reviewed that film. I got tons of hate because I hated that film. But I gave it a lot of good criticism. I was like, beautifully shot, just the story was not there. And I think that's like where we as a reviewer have to also look, is that even if we hate a film, there has to be some sort of positive to it. Like, especially when there's like passion behind the scene. Because I think we forget that people in Hollywood are normal people.
Right. Like that movie that feels like corporate machine made it, or no passion.
Yeah.
People dedicated 2 years of their life to bringing that to the screen. They didn't sign on thinking, I'm going to make something that people say that about. They're people that really wanted to do something good.
And I mean, there's some movies where like you can't help but like sometimes a director signs on and there's issues with the director and the production, the lighter, the VFX guys. They can't control that. That's not up to them. They don't know that what's going to happen on set.
Well, even like sometimes with some of the like, it's an infamous story like with The Mummy 2. One of the reasons the CGI is bad is because there was some sort of like catastrophic event near where they were rendering it, so the movie never finished rendering.
Yeah, and they just have to push it out.
Like we have to put the movie out. We can't change the fact that there's power shortages, so the computers can't run. Like little things like that like people are like, these lazy people, they didn't care.
There's always something.
They're like, their heart is broken that they never got to finish their work. They carry that for the rest of their life.
Well, that's their resume. Because when they go to another job, they're like, this is the VFX I've done. You did the Scorpion King?
It's like, what?
It's like, really?
That looked like PlayStation 1 graphics.
Even going back to my YouTube channel now, it's a resume now. And we were talking about this, is that I can literally use this and go, and I've even shown my, like, for my job, like job interviews I've had, I showed them, like, this is how I'm an outgoing person. I can talk. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I don't care what I'm saying. Like, I'll spew it out, say it out. And it's just, I think it's more than just a channel now where you can communicate. And it's nice to have that, but it's a resume.
Right.
It's straight up to show people, this is the work I've done, and I can do the same work for you.
Right. So, 4 years ago, you're still in high school?
So I started literally like a couple days after I graduated high school.
In which case, so like 4 years ago, that's where you're at.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, you interviewed the guy that, Instant Family, Daddy's Home, press screenings, networking connections. And it all goes back to not that, you had somebody that just like brought you on along with them. This is because you hustle. Like you put in the work.
Well, and I just started the channel because I wanted to. And honestly, that's all it can be. And I don't have like the high tech equipment that, like you see all these movie studios having. Like, it honestly just starts with a camera and a mic and just working towards there. Because I started with no mic. I just had a camera and I would just talk.
Well, it's like, to this day, doing my trailer reactions, I shoot them on this with no mic. Like, that's use my phone.
Do too. It's so much easier.
Right. It's just very simple to do that and record myself with this. And the technology's there where you can just start. And the most important thing you can do is, first off, get some lights so you're nicely lit. But then from there, your phone has a great camera. Yeah, like, this is a webcam. I use a webcam.
And that's what's awesome is like I have a basic ring light. I have a food table that I open up to throw my mic on. And then I have a seat to just sit down in. And then I just have the camera.
And you can admit that, like right now, the camera is sitting on a laptop that's on top of a stack of books.
Oh, and so you know what my tripod used to be? It used to be like piles of boxes of like collector statues that I had. And I would just throw my phone and like try and angle it. I'm like, okay, that looks decent. I'll do this. And it just starts from just doing it. Because then you can like make critiques. I feel like a lot of people say, I'm going to do this. And then they just never do. Yeah. Or they try it and then they're like, oh, it's not going my way. It's like, you got to figure out which ways are working, and a lot of that kind of goes into, and then I mean, you can figure out like the YouTube algorithm and stuff later down the road.
Right. You start like, you just have to get the crap out of you, and whatever I had like 10 years of video work behind me, 10 years of public speaking behind me, and then if you look at my first video, I'm just as awkward as anyone else. Like, I am.
It's just getting used to it.
Yeah, to get used to it. And like, I was even in front of a window, so I'm backlit. I'm just like, everything I should have known better. Everyone's first stuff is their worst stuff. It's crap. You just have to get it started, and you figure out if you like it and if you want to keep doing it. And then if you want to keep doing it, you're like, what are some of those next steps to really grow if you want to do this movie reviewer thing? Like you said, you just started emailing people. You start when you get there, don't just go and like actually talk to the people, meet them. Every time I've walked up to the guys that run these events and asked for a contact information, they've given it to me.
Yeah.
I've never gotten a no.
No, and that's usually, like, I mean, they're going to give it out, and then it's just being persistent. And like, Sean, this is my work. This is what I've done. You build that resume, and it gets higher. And me and my friend were even talking about this because, like, he's picky when he watches stuff on YouTube. And he actually wants to, like, do his own podcast and stuff now. And he even told me, he's like, the reason people go, because he's like, the market is super saturated. It's personality. And it's just being yourself. If you're, the audience can tell if you're not being yourself. If you're trying to be like someone else or imitate someone else, then they'll feel that. And you kind of just have to do your own thing and go with the flow. If you're awkward, then make it awkward. Like that's fine. But if you're talking to the camera and just being yourself, I feel like that just makes the people more comfortable watching.
Well, even like in our space, it's so easy to immediately see the people that have watched way too much Jeremy Johns or something like that. Chris Stuckman is like, yeah, we know what you're doing. It's very obvious what you're doing.
And they can be inspirations, but it's like you don't want to directly copy them. Like you don't want to do everything that they're doing. You can take certain things from them.
Like right when you're starting and trying to figure out your style, that's one thing if you're like, let me see if I can do the Jeremy Johns, wisecracky stuff. Like, but once you get past that first batch of videos, you like be you. Figure out what you is on camera and kind of go for it.
And I think that's what really grabs people on there. You want to find that one thing that makes you different and separates yourself. Whether it be if you're funny, if you're more analyzed, like go straight deeper into each film, the way that you make your videos look, your humor. It just really just depends on you and your personality. You want to show that. Like, don't be afraid to be yourself in a sense. And I feel like a lot of people want to be judged. Honestly, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're going to get dislikes, you're going to get dislikes. If you're going to get likes, you're going to get likes.
You just have to get used to that. That's part of the game.
It's just like, honestly, just enjoy. And I think the one thing about YouTube is just enjoy the community. Like, you will make friends. Like, we're here talking. Like, we talked like over the internet for 2 years. And it's like crazy now that you're meeting people that like you've seen on the internet for so long, you've talked to on Twitter or have small exchanges, and that you're like, oh, hey, this person's real. Like
normally I'm really shy around people that I don't really know really well, and then like as soon as you guys showed up, it was like I didn't have my normal like because I had to pause like, oh yeah, we've never met in person before. I had to like stop and think about it.
Forget about that. It's just sometimes it just clicks like that, especially like when you've had that communication. And I actually think this format has made me come out more than being less shy. Because I feel like you kind of have to, it kind of gets you out of that. Sometimes I'm a little shy, like when I'm meeting someone for the first time, because it's like I want to make a good impression. I don't know what to say, but yeah, it's total. I honestly love the platform, even if YouTube can screw you over sometimes, but.
Scare you a little bit, All right, where can we find you on the internet once again?
Well, again, so you guys can find me at Zach Pope Reviews on YouTube, Sandwich on Films website, and on Twitter at Pope the King.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Hopefully that can help some of you that are interested in joining in on this. And I think the key thing inside these stories is that you're just a normal guy.
Yeah, you just do it.
You just do it, and you just put the work into it, do some of the not fun stuff.
It's not like my family was pushing me to do this. They did not want me to do this. Like when I started doing it, they're like, why are you doing reviews? I'm like, because I like doing them.
Right. So like for me, when I first started, when you're 34 and you're like, hey, I'm going to do YouTube videos, my peers are like, okay, like what? Yeah. They just think I'm insane. And then some of them are like, just principally the phase of life I was at, they're like rolling their eyes at me. So I didn't tell anyone. It was like this secret thing that I was doing.
And that's how I was. I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone I'm making YouTube videos. And then I think one of my friends actually found one of my videos. And he was like, you do YouTube videos? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, I'm like your best friend. You never told me. I'm like, yeah, I just didn't tell anyone.
Right. And so that it's like it's a strange thing that could work. And for me, it was like people like rolled their eyes at me until it got up to the point in time where suddenly it was like, that is so cool. You're like the most famous person I know. Yes. It's like, can we have a normal response to some of the stuff? Anyways, I was trying to close things out. Thank you so much for talking with me and sharing your stories. Head on over to his channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.